One Commandment. It's like a kind of a clever way or for Balaji to say that your startup society, which is like the first step towards like the network union, and then the network archipelago, and maybe eventually the network state, who will get some diplomatic recognition, let's say like Vatican or like Maltese Knights kind of order, some kind of thing like that, maybe from a city, not a state first. But your startup society should be like very focused on one key moral innovation. That's like the core idea.
Hello, welcome back to Mtambo's Desk, a weekly podcast covering deep conversations on technology, philosophy, complex science, and civilization. My name is Duke Mtambo, and the following is a conversation with Jakub Simek, a co-founder of Wezesha DAO and an author of Wisdom Enterprising. In today's episode, I'll be talking with Jakub Simek about his article, The One Commandment, under the daily Balajisms series. And now, dear friends, here is Jakub Simek. Jakub, thank you for joining me once again.
Thank you, Duke. I'm happy to be here with you discussing these Balajisms on a regular basis, as we do.
Okay. Well, Jakub, let's start with the basics. Can you explain to our listeners what the One Commandment is and how it applies to startup societies?
Right. So you have like startups that are super focused or hyper focused on one like product innovation or innovation in some kind of service. So like you have founders, like a small team, let's say 2 co-founders or 4 early startup employees, who just dedicate their maybe 2 or 3 or 5 years to totally focus on like one issue, which is like improving some kind of area with their product or with their service, and just to beat the competition, and just like hyper focused in one area, maybe working 15 hours a day. So that's like startups, but the startup societies are like community first and companies second. So it's like you come up with not a technological or economic innovation as in case of startups, but you come up with a moral innovation. So you kind of come up with like a history. Balaji calls it like a crypto history, like cryptographically verifiable macro history or something of why society and the current establishment is failing in this particular area, and like how our startup society will improve on that. So it's like just like therefore the One Commandment is like a kind of a clever way or for Balaji to say that your startup society, which is like the first step towards like the network union, and then the network archipelago, and maybe eventually the network state, who will get some diplomatic recognition, let's say like Vatican or like Maltese Knights kind of order, some kind of thing like that, maybe from a city, not a state first. But your startup society should be like very focused on one key moral innovation. That's like the core idea.
Okay. That makes sense. And you mentioned that tech startups are lesser focused on one specific tech innovation. Do you think the same approach should be applied to moral innovations?
Okay, yeah. So the startups are like super focused on one tech innovation. Let's say, I don't know, it might sound like trivial at first, like 140 characters, like for Twitter, but like social media were like, I don't know, taken as a joke for a very long time. But after Trump won, and after actually Trump got the deplatform from Twitter, which was like both events were quite big, and people don't take social media lightly. You can see it with Elon Musk and with like all the hysteria around Twitter files. So like, you've got, let's say, Balaji talks about this, like you got SpaceX that wants to take people to Mars. That's like, okay, what they're like, their focus, that's their mission. And then you have, I don't know, an innovation that is like 140 characters for a tweet, and that it sounds kind of silly, but like both of them actually transform the world. Like with Starlink, SpaceX with Starlink is, as we discussed before, they are helping Ukraine, so they definitely are having an effect on the world. And Twitter, with many issues, it has an effect on the world. It helped to start the Arab Spring, for example, in back in 2011. If I'm correct. And so it helps to mobilize many people. So social is definitely here to stay. And that's like just like one example, like social technologies. So that might have been silly, but are not silly anymore. They're taken seriously. That's like one innovation for tech startups in kind of technological and economic innovation. But for startup societies, that one focus should be moral innovation. And why just one? Okay, like it's just like, because I don't know, you don't maybe want to start a new religion with 10 commandments, but to start like with one commandment and one specific innovation, let's say, like a sugar-free society, like keto kosher, like where you have like low carb and like no sugar kind of policies. It can kind of transform restaurants, groceries. It can transform communities and maybe make people lose weight, which also for some people might sound silly, but that's like one example, the same way as Twitter sounded silly, 140 characters 10 years ago or something. So this is just like one example of many. Even you can find even like maybe sillier or kind of more funny versions. Like you can have like a formal wear society where everybody like chooses to wear like formal clothes, but like you can have a twist on it, so it's like a formal clothing, but like with a feel of like a jumper or a like kind of sports kind of, like, so the fabrics are kind of smart, so you feel kind of comfortable, but it looks like really like a formal wear or something, like, I don't know. I don't know. I check, for example, I'm wearing some cheap like Decathlon kind of thing on me, but it's like I mean, at least it looks like much smarter than it feels, and okay, this is not a formal wear, but it's like an example. Imagine something like this, but looking like a suit, so, and that's like, okay, it's okay in this case, but these kind of companies exist, but imagine a startup society that has like kind of this policy, like, I don't know, we are just like wearing like not just business smart, or I mean smart casual or something, like, but like kind of formal wear, but like in a smart like V3 way, and okay, I don't know what it might maybe make people to behave more politely to each other, or you get some people who are like really into fashion or something like this way. I don't know. It's like very strange example, but I don't know, Balaji mentioned it, I think also in the book, but if not, then on some podcasts, formal wear society, which is like a bit strange.
Yeah, but it's a good. It might be a good society, Anyway,
it might not be for everyone, of course.
And that is interesting. And you also mentioned that anyone with a laptop can create a startup society. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, so for example, you have Brian Armstrong, who is a founder of Coinbase. Yeah, and he worked in a for another company. I think actually was Airbnb, and he was like observing that actually the cross-border payments, sorry, are not a solved issue, you know, like, and this got him into crypto. So he was like working for some kind of like technical kind of issues related to processing payments at Airbnb. And he got this idea like, okay, this is not a solved issue. And he went on and he coded the website for Coinbase, I think, on his laptop on a bus or something like that, you know, like through some long commute or something. So you have like these kind of examples of startup entrepreneurs that were very kind of non-consensus, like let's say 15 or 20 years ago, like okay, during let's say Y Combinator, which is like one of the first or maybe the first startup incubator in the Bay Area.
I remember Y Combinator sometimes back, I think in 2015, I participated in one of the competition on with the with the 3D fabrication.
Wow, nice. You know, me and David, we also participated at the YC Global Online School or something like that. You know, it was actually quite cool. You know, we were like I don't know, just like meeting up some people from Dubai or some you know, some Turkey. I remember something. You know, and we had like some group. Like, you know, it's just like a school or a class, and we had some group projects, some assignments. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like with David,
yeah. Once you mentioned that, I remember that also. School.
Yeah, and then we were like, we tried to, we're like with SotaHub or something, we tried to, I don't know, just like improve it, like with YC. So like, yeah, but there was like this path, which was very like rare or strange, maybe in 2005. And now it's kind of like a common playbook. Like it's Balaji talks about it. It's almost like an MBA, you know, like it's kind of established. Like you come to Silicon Valley and you start your company. And now after remote work, as we discussed, after Corona and the internet became the primary. And so you don't need to even go to Silicon Valley, and you can start it from Voi or from Nairobi or from Bangalore or from Bratislava, you know, just like you just on a Zoom. So okay, but this is like for tech companies, this is quite established. And actually also for like, let's say political organizers or something, like, you know, you have like Obama, which is like the ultimate success. You know, you become, let's say you are like a political organizer, like a community organizer. Actually that's like his job, or how he so you are organizing some activities for your community, or trying to improve it, and then you work yourself, you progress until he reached the ultimate success, which is like becoming a president of the US, at least for that path, which is like very rare. You know, it's like, let's say there are like 3,000 something billionaires, if I remember correctly, globally. But Balaji talks about this, but there were only like 50 US presidents or something, you know, so like 45 or 50, I don't know, like now the current, you know, but it's like two orders of magnitude kind of difference, you know, so it's like quite a success. But okay, but this is like the path for like traditional like community organizers or political organizers or something like that. And then this is like one path, which is like traditional. The startup the tech startup founders, it's quite rare. I mean, quite new, not the rare anymore, but 17 years ago it was pretty new. And now for startup societies, you have like a new path, like let's say merging these two cultures together. So you have like these community organizers. You can imagine Obama, you know, like half Kenyan becoming the US president, which is cool, you know.
And even UK, the the UK Prime Minister Sunak is also half Kenyan.
I didn't know. Okay, so you are pretty successful, you know. Yeah, you know, so
Produce
you
world
should
leaders.
actually get a lot of startup society founders actually. You know. There is
Yes.
something about Kenya, you know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you are pretty ambitious, so that's also true. Although actually also Nigerians are really successful, you know, they don't want
Yeah.
to just keep it in Kenya, but like yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And South Africans, actually, if you think about like Elon Musk, and there is David Sachs, and there are some other like South Africans. Yeah, so
Yeah, like Trevor Noah also.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Actually, yeah, exactly. It's funny, right? Yeah, it's yeah. Uh, okay, so yeah, so back to startup society. So okay, you can have at least like these two kind of like quite distant kind of cultures, like tech startups and let's say community organizers or political organizers. And with startup society founders, you can merge them together, and so you can be really like a Brian Armstrong, a strong coding. Coinbase, like his new startup on a bus, you know, travel while commuting somewhere or traveling on a bus. And so then the same way you can have a like a startup founder. It can be let's say a girl or like a female university student from Voi in Kenya, coming up with her moral innovation and basically using a playbook for SaaS companies. So, but this time it's like society as a service and not like a software as a service. And let's say creating a yeah, startup society around something that might sound maybe silly, like or a bit like trivial today, but might become quite big tomorrow, you know, like, and she can just like, I don't know, build a community, like high trust, highly aligned community around the moral innovation. And yeah, and the time will show, you know, and get like members like this.
Mhm. Oh, wow, that's interesting. And how do you think this concept of startup societies fit into the larger idea of building a network state?
Mhm. Okay, so it's a similar, yeah, that like no, you have thousands, millions, hundreds of millions of small how is it, like mom and pop companies. You have like lots of small companies. It's like family-owned businesses, and not every family-owned business or not every I don't know, stand where you sell, let's say, you provide like some M-Pesa services and some you sell like, I don't know, some grocery store or something. Not all of these like need to become Walmart or some kind of like big company, or let's say and Safaricom or something, you know. So actually you have like it's the size of company is Pareto distributed, meaning like you have very few very large companies, and then you have very like you have the most majority are small companies. Even like within the YC Combinator, I don't know what the statistics now, but a few years ago it was like they had like 1,600 companies that were like incubated or like went through their incubator,
Mhm.
and 40 of them made for the half of the total value of the portfolio. Let's say they help to create like $100 billion worth of equity in terms of like startup equity. But
Mhm.
like out of these 1,600 companies, only 40, the top 40 companies made for the half of the value of the portfolio, which is actually, this is like the power law distribution. So it's like, or a Pareto distribution. That's kind of like an example of this. So this kind of means like not every startup society founder needs to become like a network archipelago, but basically buying some kind of real estate and running some kind of community, like a physical community, but they can stay purely digital, like in the network union stage. So maybe just to recap the four stages. So you have like a startup society with the One Commandment, which is like the moral innovation. Then you progress to a truly aligned online community, which is like the network union, where actually that community can be small. It can be 10 people, it can be 100 people. But if they're like truly aligned, it means like, I don't know, if there is some kind of collective action, let's say, let us all retweet this member of ours who is in trouble. Like, I don't know, this person, like this girl got canceled online and she's a graphic designer, and we are like a network union of kind of like a guild of let's say graphic designers, and we support each other, let's say help each other to grow together, you know, to kind of uplift each other. But in times of trouble, let's say we help each other if somebody's canceled unfairly, like let's say this girl is canceled unfairly online, and we retweet her, I don't know, her take, or if this member needs to fundraise for some family member or something, so we all kind of help him or her. And this is like the collective action, and if the alignment is measured actually by the percentage of members that are participating. So because Twitter, as Balaji explains, is not a highly aligned community, because let's say you can have like 1 million followers, but you get only like 1,000, or let's say like 2,000 likes. So it's like 0.2% of engagement. But if the truly aligned network union, or truly aligned online communities, where you have like really high engagement, like not 0.2% like on Twitter, but let's say close to 100%. Let's say, okay, maybe somebody is sick, so they are not participating today, but that they can either like use their time or their capital to chip in, you know, if they don't have time, or vice versa. If they don't have money, then they actually at least invest their time. So that's like the network union stage, and most of the those kind of network unions, they are not most, but many of them might stay just with the network union kind of phase, because let's say if you are graphic designers, you don't need to crowdfund some kind of real estate, let's say, I don't know, in Voi or in Bratislava, to actually provide your services, or like to I don't know, to work on your moral innovation. So in terms of this, like cancellation is bad kind of network union around let's say graphic designers, or for graphic designers, they just stay purely in this stage. Because they, let's say, they don't need to crowdfund some land, or I mean some real estate. But let's say in case of this keto kosher community, or like sugar-free, low-carb kind of community, you want they might want to actually build a physical community where they like are co-living or co-housing together in order to I don't know, to practice this kind of, to support each other in this kind of diet, you know. So that's just an example. You can have like thousands of various moral innovations in these kind of ways. So yeah, formal where a society can also kind of maybe want to live together, so they can see each other wearing nice clothes.
You mentioned about the network union. I also related to somehow another example here in Kenya, whereby we have like 10 households, and in each 10, in these 10 households, there's a leader. So this leader is called like either mzee wa nyumba kumi, that's in Swahili, mzee wa nyumba kumi, or mama wa nyumba kumi if it's a lady. So but these 10 households, they unite together in terms of any problem, in terms of if somebody gets sick, so they have to raise funds for this person, one of their member, or whenever any person dies in that 10 household, they have to go there and make a good send-off ceremony and take care of everything. And for example, if I'm a member of that say that 10 household society union, union, but this one now is not even, it's not network, but it's kind of physical. I have to go, even if I'm far away from, say I'm in Nairobi, I stay in Nairobi, so I have to come to Voi and come and be part of that burial ceremony, or even if I don't have time now to come to Voi, then I have to send my contribution, money like to them, so that it can also help in terms of arrangements.
Okay, and so how frequent this is, or is it like all around Kenya, or only some tribes, or yeah?
All around Kenya, because also it plays a key role in terms of security. So if there's any new person coming to live in that area, or in those 10 households, they'll get to know him or her, because this is a stranger. So do you know this person? For example, if all of us don't know him, that we categorize that as a stranger, and we might come up with some strategy of say confronting him or her and ask, like, where are you coming from? What do you want to do here? So if we see if it's a bad person, then we have, in that 10 household community, they have to escalate that issue maybe to police, and everything's taken care. So it's like kind of security also aspect, yeah. And it's all over Kenya.
So, and it's quite popular, right? Or it's
yes, it's very.
But
very
it's not
popular.
like everybody is. But it depends. Like some communities where it's like more popular, and some are less.
Yes,
like
so
more countryside and less cities, probably. I don't know.
Yes. Well, more countryside than city, because city, like everybody tends to be busy and living his own life. But in countryside, it's more stronger than urban centers. Yeah.
Okay, and so it's like, and it's always like just 10 households, right?
Yes, 10 households
so
maximum.
Maximum, not more. Yeah.
Not more. Yeah.
Okay, and it's but they live like close to each other or something. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So
they
it's
are
like
neighbors.
Neighbors. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and it's okay, and so if it's like 11 or something, so then the household joins another community, or something.
Yes.
Because then it seems like it's related to this like Dunbar number. It's like 150 or something people that you are kind of. It's like a limit of what you are able to keep track in terms of like close relations. Like you can have, let's say, it's kind of like a clan or band, like from long times ago. It's like we still kind of have some kind of cognitive limit of, let's say, 150 people that we can keep a close eye on, and build like high trust relationships, or at least most people. So I guess it's somehow connected maybe to this, like, okay, 10 households is like a maximum that you can actually, because let's say if you have large families like in the countryside, and it's kind of and this is like supported by the government, maybe like for decades ago.
It's somehow supported by government. And remember, it's not yes, there are common goals, like in all the 10 household, or we call them nyumba kumi, but it's 10 households in Swahili. So there are this common goal in terms of it's like security, that's the number one thing. So it's like common in any 10 household community. But it's not restricted to, restricted to come up with their own ways of how they handle things. So some of them have their welfares, whereby like they can decide to come up with say business idea, whereby they can start say poultry farming, and at the end, so instead of whenever we have, for example, an issue with one of our members in terms of say sick, or there's students, there's a child who wants to be taken to school and there's no money, so they can use these welfare projects to fund, say, for example, those issues. So different, and this different this household differ from each other in some aspect in terms of their welfare activities. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. And it's like a distributed like insurance as well, right? Or something that, so if somebody gets sick, then I don't know. And do you pay some like yearly or monthly dues or something like a membership for that? Let's say not security, but for that you said that fund or something like that insurance fund or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. So in this case, I've not participated that much, but what I know is there's fee in terms of if you don't say there's somebody who has died, and
if you don't come to the funeral, you
don't come, you have to contribute this amount of this specific amount of money. So yeah, so it's like that. So yeah, so I was relating it to when you mentioned about network union, and yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. That's actually, I think that's something that this, you are more advanced in this, because I think the people in the West, and especially we discussed before, like this atomism versus collectivism or communitarianism versus atomism. So these like Protestant countries like Sweden or like the US, the Anglo-Saxons, they're quite like individualistic, or they kind of forget about like all these community-based I don't know ways how to. But actually the US was quite like community. There were lots of these community organizations, but like I don't know, since maybe 40-50 years ago it kind of started to disintegrate. Like there is this book by Putnam, Bowling Alone, and I don't know from which year it is, but it's quite old. It's maybe 90s if I'm correct. And it's talking about this phenomenon of like people bowling alone. So yeah, thanks for this, because I think this actually you might be more advanced than this. So I think with this kind of startup societies actually might work better in Kenya than in the US, and maybe Slovakia is somewhere in between. I don't know. It's just a hypothesis. Let's see. It's just a theory for now, but it's technically you kind of have this. There might be even like maybe greater need for it in places like Kenya for now, until, because as we discussed before, there may be this like American anarchy future scenario versus Chinese control, and like the liberal democracies like should be like in between, let's say, chaos and tyranny. So they're like dancing in this kind of like this spot, which is like you want to allow innovation, but you also want to have security and order. So yeah, cool. That's a really good detour. And I wanted to ask, are they connected to like somehow also to, you have all these SACCOs, right? In this kind of like community-based like cooperatives, right?
Yeah.
Something, so it's somehow connected to that.
Yeah. Yeah, SACCO is like another level. It's more upper level of it. So it's like Nyumba Kumi. Yeah, they can decide to register their own SACCO if they want, but SACCOs, they are more than the Nyumba Kumi. So like people like, for example, motorbike riders, they have their own say SACCOs to say take care of their own say issues and all that. So like SACCO is more of upper level than say the 10 household.
Yeah, okay.
So before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you if you think there could be a kind of meta one commandment for all startup societies and network unions, archipelagos, or states.
Yes, at least that's like kind of like, again, my 2 cents, like just like brainstorming on this issue. If you have you have 10 commandment, one commandment, as we discussed, like with not 10 commandments, but one, let's say a formal wear society, or keto kosher society, like sugar-free society, or a CrossFit society, or vegan society, or actually carnivore society where people love meat, they eat mostly meat and maybe some vegetables, and or weightlifting society. I don't know, you can have like loads of them and some more serious maybe, but you never know which one will be successful. It's like a bottom-up innovation. But like what I thought about is that the ease of exit, meaning like how easy is to exit that community, which is different actually from the easiness of entry, because these communities need to be selective somehow. Like at least you need to have the same beliefs as them, meaning for this one core issue. So you don't try to reform everything and like, I don't know, preach morality about like every issue from, I don't know, what tea you should drink to what you should wear or something. But let's say if you have this keto kosher, it's just like about sugar-free society and low carb or something, like these issues of low carb and sugar-free, but you are not discussing some other political, I don't know, or infrastructure issues related to city lights and to public pavements or something like that. So and in the same way, what could be like the meta one commandment? It's like the easiness of exit, meaning like you don't want a society, you want to make the exit from your startup society as easy as possible, but you keep the entrance, the entry, or like like how you are accepting people. You keep it selective, so you can be like hyper selective on the entrance or on the entry, but like you keep the exit as free and as easy as possible. That could be like an ethical kind of way how to do it. Because also in Balaji's kind of philosophy, exit is like very prominent, or the exit over voice. If there is like loyalty, exit, and voice. So voice is like voting. You can vote on some issues. Then loyalty is like you are, let's say, loyal to your country or to your city, or let's say to your university, like an alumni, or to your family, which is also important. But the exit is like how easy it's actually to pack your backpack and leave, let's say, or how easy it's to start your new company or your new startup society. And you have like this kind of, let's say, what somebody would call like cults or sects, or you have like some kind of like dangerous cults, or like unethical cults or something that keep their members somehow, they like deprive their members of agency, and you are like too connected with let's say that religious cult, or that's kind of I don't know, community, and they keep you, I don't know, they kind of don't empower you, but they kind of keep you within like locked from the outside world, like at least psychologically, and also, or maybe financially, like you are too dependent on them. Or just another technical, or another example from out of blue maybe, but it's like, the Twitter now after Elon Musk, they had this policy that they were deleting accounts that were like promoting Mastodon or other kind of social networks. And I think this is kind of a bad situation, and I think it was a mistake. Also Balaji criticized it as being a mistake. What you want to do actually, if you want to be like super ethical or ethical about it, you just want people to leave. If they don't like your community or your company or your service or your product, they should be able to leave as easily as possible. If you think about this unethical or dangerous or kind of unethical cults, or let's say even unethical companies, in a way that they try to bind their members or customers, they want to kind of disempower them, so they stay kind of locked in or locked within the services of that company. But if you contemplate about like what is the opposite, the ethical, let's say, company, or the ethical cult, it's just like a concept, or ethical society, that you want to make the exit as easy as possible. So I think the meta one commandment would be make exit as easy as possible. So people actually, only people who really are committed, who really want to stay, they will stay, you know. So this is kind of, you might not grow as fast or as quick as possible, but this is like the very ethical thing to do, is like to enable exit as so practically. For example, if you have like some network archipelago, you could have like, I don't know, some kind of like prefab houses or something, where actually it would be easy even to move that house out. Or you would like, you know, we discussed maybe before that you would not own your house directly, but let's say you would own like a token in like a crypto rate, like, so it's like real estate investment trust. So you could like own like the whole block of houses, or the whole community, kind of, you know, like another individual house. And then if you don't like it, you just sell the token, you know, something like that. Or if you don't like it, you are actually able to move your house, because it's like a prefab house, like a container house or something like that. You can put it on a truck and leave in a way. So that's just like a maybe silly example, but you can find like these kind of examples. In the case of Twitter, I mean, it's kind of more clear that you don't want to delete accounts that like are pointing people to another social network, like Mastodon or something. So the ethical thing would be like, okay, if you don't like it, just leave, you know, just like we make it as easy for you to leave. But still you can be hyper selective on the entry, you know, like the entrance exam or entrance kind of checklist, or some kind of questionnaire and form. You can still do it. So it's making exit as easy is like, it's like the meta one commandment, in my opinion, or like what I would do, like a meta one commandment. Yeah, make exit easy.
That's a very interesting point of view. Thank you, Jakub, for joining me today and sharing your thoughts on this topic.
Thank you, Duke. Take care. See you soon.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. For our audience, thank you for tuning in, and we hope you found the conversation enlightening. If you enjoyed listening to Mtambo's Desk podcast, don't forget to subscribe, give this episode a thumbs up, and be sure to come next week for another episode. Until then, this is Duke Mtambo, and don't forget to do good always.